This news that you gave me, that's what we had beforehand.
Totally.
No, that's the one I want to keep, because all that does is tell you that these kind of things are gonna happen. But they want you to know before anybody else does. Before it hits the mainstream news.
Well, you've got another one out there now.
Oh.
I don't know what's happening.
Is it that they see both of us?
Hear you.
New couple.
Did you hear what I said?
Okay, all righty.
Yeah, they have to see both of us.
They don't have to.
But you put
But if
in.
you talk, it'll be heard.
Welcome, Phil.
Hello, how are you?
I finally had to try 3 times to get your address right because we originally had the bad spelling on your name, and then I forgot to change the email too. Well,
Okay.
anyhow, glad to have you aboard.
Good.
Bill.
Yeah.
He's a new guy?
Yeah.
Is his name Phil?
Bill.
Bill.
We don't know.
Phil and Elsie Northern
Okay.
moved in
Elsie.
about a week ago.
Yeah. I don't have a figure. I
Bill
can't
and Elsie.
figure out how to get a nice background. It's just a fuzzy, funky picture.
Bill and Elsie.
Okay.
Wow.
Elsie, yeah?
We had to learn a little at a time on how to do Zoom. I got to turn my TV off 'cause I'm watching this interview with Zelensky, and he's on the Fox, and they're interviewing live about the whole war and everything. It's rather interesting. So, okay, let's get started. We have a few things to talk about today, and it should be a lot of fun. First thing, it's April Fool's Day. You know, today's the 1st of April, and so if you don't know how to have fun on April Fools, you can talk to your Alexa and say to start up the April Fool's pranks, and then she'll say, "Well, here's an April Fool's prank," and then go and do some more. I don't know if you can hear. Alexa, start April Fool's pranks.
April Fool's Day is today.
Oh, he got one work over there. Alexa, tell me an April Fool's prank.
This prank is called the Rickroll. Sorry, I don't understand, but I may have a funny recommendation for this prank. There's a skill called April Fool's Pranks. Would you like to try it? You might just wanna. Sorry, I couldn't understand, but I may have a few recommendations. There's a skill called April Fool's Pranks. Would you like to try it?
Yes.
Here's April Fool's Pranks. Here's your prank. Bring chocolate chip cookies into the office that are actually filled with raisins. Say new prank for another prank.
Yes.
April Fool's Prank still can't help you with that. It can tell you a prank. You say, tell me a prank.
You're
What can I help you with?
responding to her, and he's responding to his, because he's not laughing at the same time.
You're having different jokes from me. Mine's talking to me.
Well, it's something you can try, but it's
Huh?
not much more than the kind of things you'd hear little kids playing with riddles and stuff. So anyhow, I thought I'd get everyone up to speed on that. Of course, the first thing with April 1st is our new rate increase. And that's not an April Fool's, that's for real. So we'll have to deal with that. So I have to see how we can have some smiles and still bite off that rate increase. So I found one of the things that this time in the year, especially in April, is the poppies are coming out up there in where is it? Up in the valley up there in Lancaster area, and so I got some pictures if I can find them. What do I do with them? Let's see. Oh, here they are. So let me show you. These are pictures. Oh, come on, I didn't do that right. I got to share first. Four or 5 years ago. And it's just amazing to see them all over the poppies for one across the whole horizon. And then you can look at a little closer and see how beautiful they are. And of course, a little closer and see the individual flowers. If you've never been there, it's a nice little drive. Go up and see them. And that. And so those are the poppies. And then I had another April joke for you. So if I can find that. Okay, here we go. So this is another April. We just get started here with, so you can see all this. So here's an April joke. April gets in her car and notices her steering wheel, dashboard, and windshield's missing. She calls the police and reports a theft. When the police officer comes and looks at April, who's crying, and says, "Ma'am, you're sitting in the back seat." I would call that an April joke as opposed to a blonde joke, okay? Will be nice. So, anybody else have some great things for April? Okay. Well, let's get started. We have. I just want to make sure now. Usually, I go through the what's happened and what's coming up. Of course, so we have the chorale concert tomorrow afternoon, and it's open to visitors. But the visitors, a visitor family, but you have to come in and register at the front desk and bring your mask. And the picture behind me now is a picture of poppy field at dusk. That's what that's all about there. So anyway, we had a little bit of a concern because the chorale concert at 3 is also going to be competing with Villanova playing Kansas, and this is part of the Final Four, and then Duke and North Carolina start up at around 5:30. So apparently that one will be a little more competitive, and fortunately we won't be competing with that. That'll be competing with our supper. So on Sunday they have a movie matinee now, and it's they're going to be playing Hamilton in the LLC. And of course, that'll be competing with the Grammys on television on Sunday evening. I understand the Grammys is just going to be one long show of music, and probably it's way beyond the style that we're used to. So I probably won't know anybody there. So come Monday, if you haven't seen the calendar, we're going to have a resident council at 1:00. And a chance to get out and figure out what's going on and all what the people on the council and the panels and all the activities going on here on campus. But before that, Monday morning, let's see, it's 7 to 9:30. They're going to start up the old continental breakfasts, dining in the Red Chair Lounge. They'll serve hot food and muffins and coffee and stuff. You won't have that little takeout box and have to run over the bistro to get a coffee. So it'll be all kind of a little dine in, and it's all for free. And so it's a chance to get get up in the morning and socialize and figure out what you're going to do with the day for the day, and get to know some of the other folks. That was always a very social event before COVID came. So let's see. I don't know exactly all the details of that, but I'm just reading it out of the book so we can, if you want to highlight stuff on your calendar. Come next Friday, they're going to do a trash and treasure sale, which is sort of
What happened?
We lost him.
else wants it.
Yeah.
But it's nice to if you have things that have some value and you're it's beyond your interests. The employees come by and they can get some nice kitchenware and old dishes and pots and pans that you don't use, and maybe some clothes and maybe some other things around the house that you don't need it anymore, and there's some money involved, and that all goes to the employee recreation fund, which is good for them, and they can buy the stuff and get something riding left down to the swap meets. I'll tell you a story. My son gave me a clock with a little thermometer on it because I asked for a thermometer so I could keep track of the temperature outdoors. He bought me this clock, and I says, "No, that's not what I want." So I brought it down to the trash and treasure sale, and the head of the kitchen at that time, he says, "Oh, just what I want." He says, "No, you can't get that for free. You have to pay for it." And he did, and that's the clock that's up on the wall behind the host desk in the Grove. So that's where that clock came from. But he had to pay $10 for it. So forced him into being honest here. The big date that involves me and a few of us now is next Friday and Saturday. We're going to be taking photos of the new residents and other residents who have become more beautiful or have lost their spouse and have a reason to have a new photo for the resident photo directory. Now, I hope you know what I mean. The resident photo directory is, I got to stop my background just for a minute.
Yeah.
This is the resident photo directory, and you have that for most of the people who came. If you were not in it and you're a new resident and you were not in it, you got it for free. And everyone who was in it, who back in when I was selling it, had to pay $10 for it. So what happened? Here we go. I'm going to go back, put my background back. Here we go.
That's good enough background.
Well,
But it's a valuable resource for the folks who use, because it puts names and pictures together so you can figure out who they are. And we've had a lot of folks not coming out very much to see what's going on, and even I've forgotten. I know that person, but I can't think what their name is. And if they're not wearing their badge, then it's hard. And if you don't know their name, it's hard to make friends and talk with them and everything else. So this sort of helps. It was started by Fred Nelson many years ago. We've put out five editions anyhow, and plus some updates. And this will be the 6th edition. And we're going to try to get it out by the end of the month, and probably should be available plus or minus a few days. So we're getting the appointments made for photos, and we have Doug Boston, we have Wes Nelson, and we have Betsy Kolar on the team to help me go around knocking on doors, taking telephone calls, and putting all this stuff together, and putting up to the list and setting up the appointments, and we'll coordinate with the photographers and everything else. The photographer is going to be Pam Lowe's husband, Dean Lowe. Some of you may have met him on the Alzheimer's walk over in the stadium about a few weeks ago. The photos will be taken in the Clay's studio, so we'll have a backdrop there. Right now, she's wearing a top that's sort of green. Don't do that, because we're going to be using a green backdrop, and then you will disappear into the background stuff. So don't wear green. Let's see what else can I say. Oh, and then we're also starting up in parallel the sales campaign. And it's not a high priority now, but we'd like to get as many pre-sales done as we can. So when the books come, we'll just be able to give them to you, to drop them off and everything else. So there's envelopes in the post, but we'll also probably do sales in the Red Chair Lounge when we get the pictures down and everything else. And we're asking for $10 cash because the checks are a little more difficult for us to process. So that's the big thing for a bunch of us working that.
Are you frozen?
Any questions on that? If you're in the book and you want your picture retaken because maybe you lost your spouse or they're in summer house or something like that, we'll accommodate that. But you need to come forward because we don't know who needs what, and but all the pictures will be taken by appointment, so we can sort of keep the people flowing through that process, because we got just about 40 new people we got to add into the book. And then there's probably maybe another dozen residents that we really want updates. So that's a large number we've got to process in 2 days. And we can't really get the photographer. He's volunteering his time, and he works full time too. So this is a precious time for him to take off and volunteer for us. But Pam has twisted his arm, I guess, or something like that. He's a nice guy anyhow. So I think it'll work out well.
Thank you for doing
I
this.
don't know
Bob.
what I just did.
What was that?
Thank you for doing it. It will be good to see all of the new residents.
Yeah, I hear all these great stories, and it makes me feel good that we're helping them out, because they are the ones who benefit the most. But we also have these senior moments too, that the book helps a lot to figure out things too. So the other part of today's discussion here, I wanted to talk about butterflies, because we're getting to that point where we're gonna get back involved with the butterfly stuff. So I want to show you. If you don't, the monarch butterflies is sort of a unique creature. So I want to show you sort of a snapshot education all about the butterfly and their life cycle, so you can appreciate how important it is, because when they migrate up here, we're going to be a part of their helping them to sustain getting around and their life cycle and migration, and hopefully they don't die off, because they need milkweed, which is not necessarily available in a lot of urban areas. So let me get this video started.
So I've got my essay written. And
I gotta advance this thing.
You're free now. participate.
Okay. So here we go.
And the days grow shorter. Monarch butterflies across the eastern United States and Canada start an epic journey, thousands of miles long. They will spend the winter hibernating in journey. Monarchs are the only butterflies in the world known to complete a round-trip migration like birds. What makes this voyage truly remarkable is that none of these butterflies have ever made the trip before, and none of these butterflies will survive this one. Let's go back to the beginning. In the summertime, monarch butterflies can be found all over North America. In the fall, cool temperatures tell the females that it's time to lay their eggs. But not just any eggs. No. From these eggs emerge the caterpillars that will become a new generation of special butterflies, part of a super generation of monarchs that will make the journey back to Mexico, sometimes flying more than 3,000 miles to get there. This super generation is different from their parents in several distinct ways. Typically, monarch butterflies live for 2 to 6 weeks. But this super generation will live for 8 months, 8 times longer than the previous generation. That would be like a human living to be 650 years old. These super butterflies are also bigger and stronger than their parents and can fly more than 50 miles a day. In order to conserve energy for the trip, these monarchs don't have the urge to mate like typical butterflies. Imagine for a moment that you are one of these super monarch butterflies. You launch yourself into the wide blue sky, feeling the sunshine on your antennae. You slowly turn until the rising sun is on your left and start winging your way south again. Along the way, you pass other monarch butterflies flying south as fast as they can, racing the weather and the temperature, because if it gets too cold, you will all die. You spend all day eating and flying, and then you do the same thing the next day, and the next. For 60 days, you follow the sun south to the mountains of Mexico. As you get closer, you hear the sound of wind rushing through the fir trees. The leaves seem to shiver in the breeze. Soon you realize that those shivering leaves are actually millions of tiny butterflies, just like you, huddled together for warmth. They cover every inch of the trees, making it appear as if the trees are actually made out of butterflies. And the sound you hear is not the wind at all, but the sound of hundreds of millions of butterfly wings welcoming you. What do you think? Would you want to be a super monarch butterfly? The Oyamel forests, 10,000 feet above sea level, create the best possible microclimate for the hibernating monarchs. Winter temperatures range from 30 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and the forest maintains a high level of humidity, which keeps the butterflies from drying out while they hibernate. The butterflies will spend 4 months in the warm, humid mountains of Mexico. Once the long winter is finally over, they take off into the skies, a veritable cloud of orange and black, and head north for the United States. This warm weather triggers a long dormant urge in these butterflies, the urge to mate. In Texas and other southern regions of the United States, a super generation of monarchs mate, lay eggs on the milkweed leaves, and finally die, their journey complete. These eggs hatch, and a new generation of smaller, regular monarchs continue heading north, retracing the path of their ancestors. They live for 2 to 6 weeks, lay their eggs, and die. In turn, those eggs hatch into the monarchs that grandparents left 8 months ago. The migration cycle is complete for this year. In just a few months, the weather will cool, and the monarch butterflies will once again lay the eggs of a new super generation. God created these beautiful butterflies with the knowledge and the instincts they need not only to survive, but also to complete one of the most astounding and awe-inspiring journeys in the world.
Isn't that great?
Epic journey, thousands of miles long.
Stop. So,
Yeah.
so we are a part of that. So we are a part of that by supporting the migration when they return, by providing milkweed for them to eat and lay eggs and keep the cycle going. And there's Judy Marsh had a project last year, and I don't know how many people, how many of you guys were involved in that project last year? Well, not too many of them here, but they, it was great that they had these little kits and everything else to raise the butterflies from the eggs and caterpillars and everything else. And it caught on from a project that to all the other, not all the other, many communities in Front Porch, and caught the attention of them. So there was an article in walnutvillage.org on their blog in there, and that was explains sort of how things started with the butterflies and the milkweed and everything else. And there's Judy's got more about that to come, but also Front Porch is now holding what they call community chats, and the community chat was recorded. Unfortunately, the community chat was held the same time we had last week's birthday show. So we really couldn't participate in it, but let me show you a little clip of that particular. That's not the right one. Oh, maybe it is. Okay. Mary Knott up at the front office runs this thing and runs the chat sessions, and it explains the. What am I trying to look for? Oh, I know. Trying to explains how the projects work at the different communities, and I'll try to show you a clip of this thing, but it's too long for me to. This little video is over about an hour long, so I'll just show you a little clip on it.
By continuing with this conversation in this chat, you are giving permission to be recorded. So it's always fun to see everybody's faces. We started doing Strength of Community chats in mid 2020 so that we could check in on everybody, get to know different residents that we hadn't met before, to bring staff and residents together, and also to practice with our technology, which at the time a lot.
This is introducing the chat thing, and we have people from all over Front Porch signing into this thing. I don't know if we had anyone, well, probably not this time because of the birthday show. But this is Mary up here, and this little.
This really didn't use. That it reminds me that I'm part of something pretty special. So I want you to know about the Monarch Butterfly Collaborative. It's an informal group that I host on Zoom quarterly, roughly, loosely, quarterly, and everyone here is welcome. I believe that we share, my goal is always to empower people to share good information, to inspire each other, and I have a goal in mind. What I'd really like to see is a way to collect useful information that can be shared between our communities and between our residents and our staff. And you know what? I believe that that builds community. And that's my favorite part about it. Who doesn't love a butterfly? I know one person who's here today who knows somebody who doesn't like butterflies, but otherwise we do. And you know, this collaborative, really, we all know the butterfly isn't the end product. It is actually the beginning of building community. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm excited to welcome 3 special featured guests. And that we had a little change up. If you read your flyer, we are actually going to talk to Sima at Wesley Palms first. And I see her here. Sima, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Now, Wesley Palms is down in San Diego.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So Sima, you come from Wesley Palms in San Diego, is that correct?
That is correct.
And your interest in the monarch butterfly began with a gift of a milkweed plant. Can you tell us the ways that receiving that gift impacted you after the loss of your husband?
I can. So my husband.
Okay, so I'm not going to do this whole thing. And then there was other. This is that part of that presentation. It goes on and on and on. But so I just wanted to make you aware. This is.
Let's see, she's got her little kit there.
Yeah, well, you know, so you got a kit and everything else for the milkweed, and then butterflies come and they eat your milkweed, and you get the eggs and all that kind of stuff. So that's what the project was, and they do this now at several of the communities. In that particular video, they're talking someplace up in up north and San Diego, and I don't remember where the third one was. And then next quarter, they will probably have us involved, someone talking about the project here. Meantime, Judy has mentioned that they're going to be working to overhaul the Serenity Gardens a little bit so they have more milkweed areas to plant and stuff like that. And so a lot of details haven't come out on that, but that's going to be a big project coming up later this month. So if you're interested in it, you can talk to some of the people who have done it before. It's very rewarding. Get close to nature. And so, so hopefully, let's see if I had a screenshot of that, come to think of it. Oh, here's the screenshot, yeah. So this is the flyer that they put out, or was the website, I can't remember what it was. And nice to see that other folks in other places are doing the same kind of thing, and it all contributes to the sustenance of the butterfly, because milkweed is not as common as it used to be, and that's what they need for their keeping the cycle going. So let's see. I think we know that's enough on butterflies for a while. Has anybody else got any interesting stories about like what they're going to be doing here for Easter, or planning spring vacation?
Judy's trip next week, or end of the month.
Not a response.
I got one. I belong to Sweet Adelines, and we are having our competition next weekend in Bakersfield. We normally have about 20 choruses that are singing, and this year we only have 6. We will be singing in the number order number 6, so that we know we will come in at least in 6th place. We have to wear masks, and one of our members has bought a set of masks, so we all look the same, and has decorated them with sequins. And you have to wear sequins if you're a Sweet Adeline. So we they have a big convention center up there, and the Marriott Hotel is connected to it with a long hallway. So we don't have to go out into the community, but we understand that in Bakersfield, there's only about a 60% vaccination rate. They're recommending we stay in the hotel.
Yeah.
And you have to wear an N95 or a KN95 the whole time you're there. So I hope to come home germ-free and COVID-free.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of that, on the memo that just came out this week, Ernest mentioned that they are planning to have booster shots, second booster shots available. They're talking to Walgreens now and working out the arrangements. So the time is to be determined yet. But I went to my doctor yesterday because of pain in my back, and I asked him the booster shots if it was, just a minute.
What's that picture?
I don't know how they do that. We'll figure it out.
I haven't seen that notice yet. Has anyone else seen it? The one he's referring to is from Ernest.
No.
Maybe it's in our box. Did you read it?
We did get it. Haven't read it yet. Kim was just looking at it now.
They're in the boxes.
It's in the box. Okay.
Yeah.
I get mine by email now. You can sign up and get the thing on email, and you don't have to run down there special for it.
Ah, yes. Okay.
And I also got the menus on email. It's on a Excel spreadsheet, and it's kind of nice to have them so I could make a copy of them and put it on my phone. So if I'm sitting around and says, "What's for dinner tonight?" or something like that, then you have it right available. So I figured also, if I can do it that way, I could also put it up in the Village News. And so I'm going back to adding a few things to the Village News. The villagenews.site is a blog that I managed. I set up when COVID first came because we didn't have any communications among ourselves, just to pass things on. It's sort of become a little bit obsolete, so I don't put a lot of time in it anymore. But now that we can get some of this stuff electronically, and I don't have to scan it and all that, I'll probably post it a little more. and I'll have other kinds of things like probably information about the photo shoot, the directories, and everything else on that. So Village News is not dead, and if you want to check it out, but I haven't reorganized it or cleaned it up that much, but it's still available. But I do recommend if you have email and you use email, sign up for that at the front desk, and they can then reduce the number of pieces of paper they have to handle. But I think right now they're doing it both ways. But it's still a nice convenient things. The other thing I was going to mention was
You're frozen, Bob.
You're frozen, Bob.
your silver badge. You got your
No.
You got your badge, Joe?
No,
Joseph?
you're back now.
You're okay.
Okay. Anyhow, they're basically the same badge with the silver background, but instead of saying Walnut Village, they say the town you were born in or the town that you used to live in before you moved here, something. So so if you have neighbors or something like that, they can get to be same kind of group and get to know, we used to know this person over here, used to shop at this grocery store, that kind of stuff. So anyhow, so that's another thing that's happening. See, what else was in the notes I forgot? We have I mentioned the Continental Breakfast, the resident and staff appreciation lunch on Wednesday. It's going to be outside the bistro from 10 till 1 o'clock this coming Wednesday.
Huh.
And silver name tag sign up, second booster. We have a new move-in to occur today, Joyce Kessler in 319.
Yeah.
And Wes Nelson's moving too from one room to another. So that's, I think, about all the stuff that I had on the announcements. Okay, so so Judy was talking about her music program. I want to show you a rather interesting program that if you like music and you like trains, okay? This is a Guinness. This is an item out of the Guinness records, world records, and it's a kind of thing that Bill McGahee, who loved trains, would have enjoyed. But I think other people who can appreciate some Rube Goldberg kind of situations get a kick out of this too. Let's see if you can appreciate. It goes for 5 minutes. I don't think I'm going to do the whole 5 minutes.
The music and right. Yeah.
Now, can you imagine to be the guy who had to set up all these water glasses and tune them and get them in the right sequence to play a song? And the right distance between them, so for the constant speed, you get the right rhythm.
My question is, what happens when the water evaporates? You have to retune it.
Young Medea comes in.
If you
And amazing.
Wonderful.
and it can't be too close because the train will knock them over. It's quite an engineering effort to do all of this, and then it just, where the heck did they get all of these glasses? This is done in Germany, and it's on a museum that had all these tracks set up and everything else, and it won the Guinness World Record for being the longest model train. Oh, well, I think you got the idea of it.
Oh, thank you. Bill would have loved that.
Yeah.
Could you send that to Melissa and Aaron?
Oh, I don't have their address. If you have an address, I'll send it to them. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you. I will give it to you.
So that was a rather unique one I happened to see, and oh my gosh! Now here's another one that let's see. Yeah.
I'm going to have to leave. We're getting ready for another thing. So
okay.
Thanks for everything.
All right. Well, you can see the rest of this on Facebook.
Okay.
Because I send you a link so you can watch that Facebook. We do it live so you can participate, and then the people who aren't set up for the cameras and everything else can just use Facebook to watch others, and the Facebook file stays there for a year. So
that's great.
Watch it anytime. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Phil.
Thanks a lot.
I hope we got a chance to get all together, and this is another way of socializing, right?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Bye, Phil.
Okay.
Thank you, Bob.
All righty. The other thing I was going to show you is something that Joe Woollett would love to see, love to do, because he loves model airplanes, okay? And he's not on the call today, but I'll try to catch his attention. Now, can you remember when you're a kid and you says, "Oh, I love to, play with gliders," and then you had one with rubber bands and they flew around a little, and then they became remote control and everything else. Well, this is the ultimate combination of remote control models and love of superheroes. Now think about that. Okay, here we go. And you can see it's going to be Superman. These guys are just two overgrown kids on a beach someplace. There he goes. 1, 2, 3. And off he goes in the wild blue yonder.
Wow.
The video had a audio track, but I didn't take it because all I could hear is this. It sounded like a fast propeller type thing. I don't think it was a jet, but I can't remember how to propel this thing because you can't see anything.
Yeah.
Now for the ladies, they could do this with Mary Poppins, right? Instead of imagine walking down the beach and seeing this flying around and says, what the heck's going on? Must have been a lot of man hours to build this thing and design it and get it to work. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman.
Yes. No, it's a bird.
I mean, batteries. It's running battery power. Wow.
And here he's going to come in for a landing now. So, you haven't seen one of those before.
No.
So, we got some interesting things you can find on the net these days. So, let's see. I'll just finish up with one little quick couple of things.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay, someone's got the mute. If you get on the phone, please mute yourself. So I went out to take some pictures around town, and I says, "Well, I think I'll share some pictures of it for these to see what's going on." And then seemed like people were having all kinds of trouble, and I says, "Well, I'll still share the pictures. Maybe you get a chance to see them." Like this poor guy. On the road to success, there are no shortcuts, but it looks like he's trying to take one across the field here. in a boat called No Worries It's Sinking. Here's a guy that's crushed into an Orange Crush thing. How about a drive-through pharmacy where the guy takes it literally and goes into the wall? And then here's, sometimes motivation isn't enough. He wants to do it, but he can't get through that bridge. Sign, Hidden Beach, and sure is hidden. This is a very embarrassing one. Down to the DMV driver's license office, the guy drives in. A bus that says, safety begins with you, and he crashes into a car. So, not exactly what he wants. So, next week, I am not going to do a Zoom because I'm going to be busy with the photos and all that kind of stuff and getting everything lined up. So you have to bear with it and skip a week, and we'll be back then in a couple of weeks. And so, yes, Don, go ahead. Go ahead, Don. You're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your background reminds me of Flanders Field in France, which is full of red poppies. I want to remind us that May is the month of Memorial Day. Memorial Day is the day that we remember all those military personnel who have been killed in line of duty. Walnut Village, through Judy Mars, purchases a lot of little red poppies that you will see worn in one's lapel sooner or later. And I want to encourage others who are not familiar with it to suggest that if you are approached by somebody and said, would you like to buy a red poppy for it? The answer ought to be yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about the poppy thing, but yeah. But they have to grow and be appreciated in April. So then they make boutonnieres out of them. So, right. That's great. Yeah, I don't know if this poppy, where this came from. I get these photos from a site that has free photos. It's called Unsplash, and you can get all kinds of photos you can download from many different photographers that love to put them up and show their stuff. No costs, and just a thank you for the posting them.
Well, you really ought to send them a bottle of champagne in gratitude.
So maybe I was talking to somebody the other day about photos, and because I love New England, all the colors, is maybe someday we'll try to start up a little chance where we show our favorite photos we've taken over the years and things like that. Because I've got quite a collection of beautiful fall color photos and other things I've done on different tours and cruises and stuff like that. And I enjoy that. I don't do it much anymore, but except for trying to keep up with the families. Photography is a very important part of my life because it sort of captures all those memories that we had and allows us to share them and remember them. So, okay. Let me finish up with our favorite puns. Puns for the week. And get this set up here. Okay, so this is the final segment. And if anyone has something they want to say before we get into this, let me, why don't you speak up now?
I would.
Done.
Okay.
You brought up an interesting point. Photographs, home movies, things of that nature. What do you do with those after your spouse dies? And all of that stuff does nothing other than bring tears to your eyes when you play them back. How do we handle that? Do we say, well, enough is enough, or it's always a reminder? Or how much do you like to self-suffer by looking at that stuff?
Oh,
that might be an interesting thing just to ask whoever would like to volunteer a response. George, don't cry.
Because I captured my wife's wedding and everything else. It was a wonderful military wedding and a celebration, and I'm proud of those photos, and I like to, and of course she was the love of my life and everything else, and I still appreciate all of that. I love looking at the photos of my kids growing up and sharing those and suggested to others, if you want to share them, put them in these photo books, not albums, but you send the photos to a publishing company, and for $20, or even Costco does it. They put them in bound books and everything else, and they won't deteriorate anymore. And that becomes a legacy. So photos is
Personal.
And I'm thinking that after you do that, and your kids come down when you're dead, and they say, "Why did Dad save all this stuff?"
That's up to them to take care of.
What do you do?
Nothing.
I mean, you're dead there, but think ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. You got to get interested in geology. I'm not geology. Genealogy. Genealogy. Yeah. Because there's so many interesting things that you find out about where your roots are and stuff like that. My grandparents were from Lithuania and Latvia. The Baltic countries, right next to all these other places, right next to where the war is starting to threaten everyone else, and they're going to be full of refugees and so forth. It's interesting to go back and learn that part of history that maybe you never did before, and it personalizes it quite a bit. And it's nice if your kids get involved, because then they understand some of their heritage and why they do things and why they appreciate things, some of their values. Anyhow, I think that's a subject, a whole new area. So let's go. So here we go. What do you get when you cross a Bambi with a ghost? Bamboo. All righty, we go another one. Why are bakers so good at math? They love pie.
Oh.
Okay. Who is the Bees' favorite singer?
The Bee Gees?
No, Sting.
I like your Bee Gees.
Okay, well, it could be. Here you go. This is a mathematical one. If there are 8 sheep, 3 dogs, 1 herdsman, how many feet are there? 2. Sheep have hooves, dogs have paws, and only the herdsman has feet.
Oh.
Tricky question. Okay, now I like this one. This is one you can talk about. What did the skeleton order at the bar?
Bones?
A beer and a mop. Why did the airplane get grounded? It had a bad altitude.
Ah,
No, that says attitude, doesn't it? Altitude, whatever that is. Okay, here we go. Why did the aerospace engineer have a hard time passing English?
He tried to wing it.
Well, that's another one, good one. Yeah, it's not rocket science. Okay. Now, remember E.T.?
Yeah.
So what is E.T. short for?
Extraterrestrial.
extraterrestrial.
Is that going to tell us?
You
Oh,
have to think about that, yeah.
Oh, you skipped one. What happened?
you skipped the answer.
Oh, I said he has tiny legs.
Oh,
Short for
He's short.
his tiny legs.
because he has tiny legs. Oh, okay.
Okay. I didn't say what it stands for. I said what it's short for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What car doesn't seem to go anywhere? A stationary wagon.
Oh,
Okay. This is a cute one. I think it's the last one. What did Snow White say while waiting in line for her photos? All righty. Someday my prince will come.
oh.
That's good.
All righty, guys.
All
Have
right.
a good one. I'll be around, but I won't be on Zoom next Friday, so we'll see you